Hi, my name's Dave Ulrich. I'm a professor at the Ross School of Business and partner in the RBL Group. We're talking about Paradox Navigator. How do I navigate tensions? And we're going to talk a little bit about what that means. You know, we all live in a paradox. We all live in a world of tension. We all live in a world where there's good and bad, hot and cold, dark and light. And this yin and yang of tension is inevitably what makes our lives, in some ways, more powerful. Organizations live in that place as well. Most of us, not all, but most of us have grown up in an organization with paradox. It's called a mother and a father. And you have a tension between the two. And that tension or that discussion often creates energy and excitement, sometimes bad and sometimes good. Our kids were extremely gifted at playing my wife and I off against each other. Sometimes in organizations we have that same tension. And in order to manage that tension of sweet and sour, of differences, we have to create some cognitive complexity. We have to say, it's not this answer or this answer, it's the combination of the two. And how do I put this complexity together? It's always fascinating for me to see new entrants into an organization who get out of school, they start their first job, and they have an answer. You got to do X, you got to do X. Not quite as complex as it should be. The world is complex. And we also have to create behavioral complexity. I can't just succeed by doing the same thing over and over again, because the same thing will be wrong as we try to adapt to the future. Now, in that mindset, how do we create cognitive and behavioral complexity? We have a series of paradoxes we have to manage. We have to be global and we have to be local. What if we're global? That's good, but we lose locally. What if we're local? That's good, but we lose globally. We have to be long-term and we have to be short-term. How do I think about that tension? If we win in the short term and lose in the long term, we lose. If we win in the long term and lose in the short term, we never get to the long term. We have to have decision top-down and bottom-up. We have to make decisions with some direction, top-down, but we have to also engage people. I get fascinated when I hear about the new organizational forms called holacracy or some new version of participative management where it's all bottom-up with no top-down. To be honest, that's an order for chaos because you got to manage the tension associated with both. We have to have freedom and we have to have control. There are inherent paradoxes that every HR leader and every organization has to manage. Cognitively, we've got to think about them. Behaviorally, we have to manage them. So what is HR's job? We found in our research that we have to be able to articulate what those tensions are. And then what we have to have is tension without contention. I have a short-term view. You have a long-term view. Instead of telling each other that we're wrong, we have to find ways to have a productive dialogue. We disagree without being disagreeable. We have that dialogue both intellectually and behaviorally that leads us to a new agenda. We need to be strategic. We need to be administrative. We have to do both of those. And so what we have found in our world is that what paradox means is the ability to live in duality or to manage the inherent tension that exists in every organization. You can develop some of those skills, it's not a predisposition alone, by where you spend time on the job, by how you work with others, by where you spend time off the job. Simple example, to develop cognitive complexity or the ability to think cognitively, go shop in a store you don't normally shop at. If you shop a lot at Neiman Marcus or Nordstrom, go to Walmart. By the way, don't wear the clothes you wear to Neiman Marcus and Nordstrom to Walmart, and just observe. If you shop a lot at Walmart, go to Nordstrom, go to Neiman Marcus, because you get a perspective of the world that is different by seeing the world through different lenses. That's the personal side. In the organization, we in HR have to learn to manage these inherent differences and tensions in a positive way. That's what paradox looks like.